This is the new EcoWash from Gyeon. It's both a rinseless and waterless wash, and today we're gonna use it. One of the best parts about EcoWash is its versatility. It allows you to pretty much wash a car anywhere, from your driveway like this, to a mountainside like we're at here. So you're probably wondering, why would we even come out with EcoWash? Well, the cool thing about a rinseless and waterless product is you can use it in areas where you have water restrictions, or maybe you don't even have access to water itself. So first things first, let's go through the rinseless process. Now, you obviously need the product. This is a 1 liter size of EcoWash, and the difference between waterless and rinseless is gonna be the dilution with water. Now, in addition to this, we're gonna have actually 2 buckets here, and I will explain why we have 2. We have a pressurized sprayer that we will use to pre-soak the car, allowing the product to sit on there and work. Then we have a wash mitt. So this is the Smoothie Evo. It's gonna be a really high quality microfiber wash mitt. And typically this is the one that you're gonna be using if you do like a hands-on wash when you're using a standard shampoo, but it's also gonna be safe to use for the rinseless process. Now for a car like this, you're gonna be using a significant amount of microfiber towels if you're doing that method. Some claim it's safest because you can flip and fold the towel, and then you would actually toss it in the extra bucket when you do it. But our method's gonna be a little bit different than that, and we'll show you that in a sec. The last thing that we have is actually our drying towel. For that, we're gonna use the Silk Dryer Evo from Gyeon. This is a pretty good sized drying towel that should easily dry this car. It is actually 2-sided, and there's longer fibers on this side. There are tighter fibers on the other side. The long fibers draw up the water, and the tighter fibers actually store it. So when it comes to your dilutions, when you're using EcoWash as a rinseless wash method, on the concentrated side, you're using 1 to 150. And then on the other end, which is gonna be a more standard dilution in the rinseless realm, is 1 to 256, which also equals a ½ ounce per gallon of water. But an easy way to tell that is actually gonna be 3 of the caps on the Gyeon bottles per 2 gallons of water. When it comes to the sprayer that we're using, this is gonna be the IK Multi Pro 2. It's gonna be pretty nice, just pressurized sprayer. And you wanna use the same dilution in here that you have in your bucket. So the best way to do that is gonna be just dunking it in. So we're gonna start things off by actually pre-soaking the car. This allows EcoWash to work on that dirt and grime and encapsulate it. It also emulsifies it, means basically holding it, which will allow it to be removed when we actually get to the hands-on portion. But first things first, we're gonna use the sprayer and just rinse down. We're probably gonna work, because it's a smaller car and we are outside, we're gonna be a little bit cautious, and we're gonna split the car right down the middle. And first, we're gonna work this front half. So I'm gonna go ahead and start rinsing it. When it comes to the dirtier parts of your car, you can actually hit it all once. And then what you can do is make sure your sprayer is pumped up, come in a little bit closer, and that will help get a lot of that aggressive, that really nitty-gritty stuff off your sills and like the bottom areas of your car. So what you might have noticed is I'm actually using the stream when you have the adjustability on the nozzle here. And what the stream will allow you to do is not only shoot the product further, but it'll allow you to really hit that dirty parts of your car on the rocker panels and make sure all of that is removed before we touch the car at all. So when we're first using our actual hands-on wash method, we're gonna dunk it into the solution of EcoWash, and you don't want it fully soaked. You want it just dripping a little bit. So like, this is obviously way too much. You're looking for something more, just a little bit of drips, something more like that, where you can kind of still squeeze it out of there, but it's not fully saturated. And on the surface, you want to go in straight motions. So we're just going to move it straight across here. Obviously, you got to get in the door handle a little bit, and then we're just going to move it straight back and just work your way down. And as like you'd normally wash a car, hit the bottom area, hit the rocker panel last. And we will show you why we actually have 2 buckets here now. So I'm gonna go along, I'm gonna hit that bottom area. And then this second bucket that we have here, and I will say it's not mandatory, but we recommend it because it's gonna be a very safe option and a very safe way to do things, which we prefer at Gyeon, is going to be the rinse bucket. So we're putting it in here, and you can see there's a lot of dirt on here, but As with a 2-bucket wash method like normal, you can wipe it off. And we do actually have grit guards in both of these buckets. But this is just the safety measure to ensure none of that dirt gets back into your bucket with the EcoWash. So it's gonna be the same method as you're working your way around the car. And when you come to bigger panels, like maybe the hood or the roof, I would recommend that you flip your mitt partway through. You don't want to use the same side, especially when you're doing a waterless or rinseless method. You don't want to use the same side of a towel or a mitt that you're using on a large surface area. So we're actually just going to split this up in half side to side. I'm going to wipe it all, taking all that dirt and grime and embedding it in this mitt. And then I'm going to use the other side on this half. When it comes to the rear of your car, typically going to be one of the more dirty portions, including like the bottom sides. So we make sure that we rinse this probably twice. I'd recommend rinsing this twice with your sprayer, just to ensure that a lot of this dirt and grime that's kicked up from the low pressure area while you're driving gets rinsed off there before we go to the mitt. Also, I want to point out that EcoWash, because it has SiO2 in it and not a polymer-based rinseless wash, it's safe to go on top of your ceramic coating. Because EcoWash actually does contain some SiO2 in it, you will notice that it's adding instant protection when you're using it. It's going to have a little bit of water beading characteristics as well as a little bit of gloss after you've finished with the job. So there's actually a third use for EcoWash. You can dilute it 1 to 20 with water and spray it into your favorite drying towel to use it as a drying aid. Overall, the rinseless process is fairly simple and straightforward, and it can be safe as long as you take the necessary steps to ensure you're not scratching your paint. Now, that was rinseless, but what about waterless? Because we're bringing water, it allows you to wash your car pretty much anywhere. So when you're doing waterless, we're gonna work a section at a time. Because you're outdoors, there's more likely chance that it could evaporate on the other side of the car while you're working here, but you still wanna make sure that the panel you're working on gets soaked with the product. And for this, you can choose decent sized sections. I'm gonna work this whole door here. And I'm gonna choose the stream option on here just to be able to shoot the product a lot further. Now that the product has been spread on the whole panel, we're just gonna let it sit for about 1 minute to 3 minutes, allowing it to emulsify and encapsulate all the dirt and grime that was on this door. This is a soft wipe from Gyeon. This is a high pile microfiber towel. It's gonna be the softest one in our lineup, and it just allows you to work an area that might have a little bit of dirt on there and lower your chance of scratching the surface. Now, as with rinseless, waterless, if your car is completely cooked, if there's tons of dirt and stuff, I wouldn't recommend this process. If you are doing that though, you can get a kind of pressurized sprayer, like the IK sprayer that we used in the earlier part of the video, and use that to rinse a lot of that dirt and grime off before you go to this part of the process. So now that our towel is well saturated, this doesn't need to be like soaked or dripping, just want it nice and wet with the product. We're gonna go ahead and work this door in straight lines. And make sure you're rotating your towel as you go so you're not just using that front edge. Ideally for this process, you have multiple microfiber towels that will make sure that you're not using any of the ones that you use in the bottom of the door, which tend to be one of the most dirty part of the car, on say your hood or an area that's easily seen, whereas this area is not. So ensure that the whole area that you're working has been properly cleaned, then use a separate dry microfiber towel and just buff the rest of the product off. And nice and glossy, don't see any sort of hazing or streaking on the surface, then move on to the next panel. We hope this video has taught you a little bit about EcoWash or maybe about the rinseless or waterless process. If you have any more questions, feel free to reach out on social media or our website where you can also find EcoWash for sale. Catch you all later.